Ladies and gentlemen, could we take our seats?
The Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe is an assembly with 636 members who are all mayors, regional or municipal councillors or presidents of regions. Its role is to ensure respect for democratic values in over 200,000 local authorities in the 47 Council of Europe member states. In order to safeguard democracy at local and regional levels, the Congress has equipped itself with a tool that is the only one of its kind, the European Charter of Local Self-Government.
The European Charter of Local Self-Government, it's not just a reference text, but it's a real legally binding charter. I don't think that there is another similar document in the world. So to have a document binding for more than 40 countries.
Monsieur Bartomeu, chef du gouvernement de l'Andorre, Monsieur Torbjörn Jagland, secrétaire général du Conseil de l'Europe, vont maintenant procéder à la signature de la charte.
Once a country has signed the Charter, the Congress organises visits to ensure that it is being properly applied. This is what is known as the monitoring process.
The Congress carries out its monitoring process because the European Charter of Local Self-Government sets out a number of very important principles protecting local and regional self-government and democracy. And it's very important that the Congress should be able to go to each and every country to check whether or not the Charter is being complied with.
We are going to monitor each member state every 5 years. That means 47 divided by 5, that equals 9, 10. So we have to monitor 9 to 10 countries each year, and that is a very ambitious program.
Monitoring missions are visits led by a Congress delegation, including members of the group of experts and, in particular, rapporteurs and members of the Secretariat.
We have in the delegation an independent expert from a university from another country, and they make a report in advance so that we can read about the situation in the country before we come there.
Well, we have two kind of problems. One is a structural problem. Another one is, of course, as everybody in this moment, it's a financial problem.
All visits are affected by the crisis theme. The financial crisis, which is really making itself felt almost everywhere, has a direct effect on local self-government.
Is there necessity of having 4,000 parishes and 300 municipalities? What are the competences that government must allocate to municipalities?
We are always speaking about the financing of the municipalities and the autonomy of municipalities, and there is some correspondence between it. If the financing is very strong state-controlled, then there is not so much autonomy for municipalities. And that's one of the important issues of the European Charter of Local Self-Government. So we always discuss the financial system.
The financial resources allocated to local and regional authorities in order to enable them to perform their duties is not always sufficient, and the distribution of responsibilities in different countries is not always clear. Sometimes we have identified areas like education and delivery of some services where local and regional authorities are not the only responsible authorities, but also others, and more clarity would help.
Obviously, we are a member of the government, and the Troika asked us if we achieve or not the objective.
Those missions talk to various levels. We talk to government, we talk to local politicians as well as part of the process. We make recommendations, and of course I suppose that brings us to the point in terms of recommendations, because we have to make those recommendations stick. It's no good just going and monitoring without that.
Tout d'abord, soyez le bienvenu à Moldavie, compte tenu que le Conseil de l'Europe a été toujours un partenaire stratégique pour la Moldavie, surtout pour le Parlement, notre pays.
The Congress of the Council of Europe, during this period of crisis, wishes to see how, with the European Charter being applicable in all these countries, it's applied to local and regional authorities in Moldova, in this case. We've just met with the President of the Republic, who had some significant things to say about the defence of local and regional authorities in financial conditions which, as we know, are difficult.
This meeting, in my view, was a very productive one at which some very frank exchanges took place with the President. The President spoke to us in very direct terms and absolutely every subject was touched upon. I think we can say that where the monitoring of Moldova is concerned, this kind of exchange with the authorities at the highest level guarantees the quality of the report which is to be presented to the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe.
After the monitoring visit, the two rapporteurs, together with the academic experts, prepare a report. This report then is sent to member states for verification of the information and presented to the monitoring committee. The monitoring committee adopts a preliminary draft report and recommendation and submits this to the plenary session. And in the session, all Congress members discuss the report and the recommendations and finally adopt these. The recommendation then is sent to the Committee of Ministers and the member state concerned is invited to, well, implement those recommendations. And to make sure that the Congress's recommendations are really followed up, the Congress enters into a dialogue with the member states concerned and very often together with this member state develops cooperation activities, action plans to develop the recommendations and to implement really those recommendations.
It's a question of looking at different countries. Of course, you can learn from different countries' experiences, looking at good practice within a country. That's very much in terms of, is this good in this particular country? Why isn't it working in this country? Well, this is probably the most important work that the Congress undertakes. The Council of Europe is the home of democracy. What is more important than actually looking at democracy within our member states? And that's what the missions are all about.